Back in 2010, Mercedes-Benz showed off a car that really grabbed public attention. That was for several reasons: a 0 to 60 time in less than 4 seconds, striking looks, and doors that opened upwards rather than outwards. But the problem for many people with the SLS AMG GT was its price. It was priced to compete with things like the Ferrari 458. And despite some obvious visual similarities, this new AMG GT is a very different prospect in many ways. Here are 5 reasons why we are very excited about this new car. Mercedes is aiming to take on cars like the Porsche 911 and the Audi R8, both big selling sports cars. But the big difference between this car and those is the layout. And the Porsche, for example, has its engine back here. The R8, a bit further forward, is mid-engined. But the Mercedes, as you can probably tell by this really long swooping bonnet, is front-engined. However, power from it goes to the rear wheels like a lot of other sports cars. Mercedes also says that the weight distribution is optimal as well. That gets 47% up the front and 53% over the rear. To start off with, there will be only 2 versions of the GT, but both of them will use a version of this 4-litre bi-turbo V8 engine. Both of them are pretty rapid though. The entry-level version, if you can call it that, has got 456 bhp and will get from 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. The S version, which is a slightly tuned version of the same engine, that's this one here, and that's got 503 brake horsepower and gets from 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. It's not unlikely, however, that in the future there will be more versions of this car, as there was on the SLS AMG GT. Things like a black edition, stuff like that, will boost the car in terms of performance and other specification. Nothing has been confirmed along those lines just yet, but watch this space. Now, one big notable change on this car over the SLS is these doors. Instead of opening upwards, they open in a much more conventional way and the hinges are at the front. And while that might not look quite as cool as the Gullwing versions, it does mean that they are much lighter, and this has a knock-on effect on things like performance and economy. Mercedes says that even the higher powered version of this car is capable of 30 mpg. The GT part of this car's name implies that this is a Grand Tourer, or the sort of car that you want to spend a lot of time covering long distances in. And this interior really does back that up. It is a fantastic place in many ways. These materials feel wonderful. This central cockpit and the seats really hug you in, so it feels like a sporty yet luxurious car. There is also a huge amount of space. Loads of legroom for the passenger there, but you get a vast boot in this car. At 350 litres, it is bigger than things like the Ford Focus. Now, obviously, it's not the same shape, so you can't get big suitcases and stuff in there, but there is enough room for soft bags, so you'll be able to go away for a long weekend rather than just a night. As well as being quicker, the higher power version of this car gets some real upgrades to boost things like handling. It gets the AMG ride control system, which means that you can stiffen or soften up the suspension. It also gets bigger brakes, 19-inch wheels at the front and 20-inch versions at the back, and an electronic differential, whereas the standard version gets a mechanical version. Pricing for this car starts slap bang in Porsche 911 territory at £97,195. If you want this version, the S version, it's going to cost you about £110,000, and there are obviously a huge range of options, so you can add on top of that as much or as little as you wish. And this car will start heading out to its first customers in April in 2015, but in the meantime, we will be driving it in November, so keep an eye on whatcar.com for our verdict then. Also, there is much more information on our website, so do take a look straight away to keep up to date with everything to know about this car.